A special night on the Joe and Joe Weather Show. Why? Because we have Mrs. Rao on tonight as Joe is
Hey.
busy hobnobbing in Palm Beach. In the meantime, uh, we also we're going to have a special day here in the Northeast tomorrow, down into the northern Mid-Atlantic states. Why? Because the sun's going to be out, and it's actually going to be a nice day. Meanwhile, we've got severe weather in the southern plains tonight that's going to spread into the Mississippi Valley tomorrow. And of course, that's part of the storm system that will be impacting our weather in the east Friday, Saturday, and into probably part of Sunday, depending on your location. All that and so much more on tonight's. Well, it's actually tonight. It's not the Joe and Joe Weather Show. It's the Joe and Renata Show, or the Renata and Joe Show.
Hooray.
I'll be generous. You can have top billing tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah,
What a gentleman. Oh
I'm
my
being
gosh.
I'm being big here. So anyway, how are you doing, Mrs. Rayo?
Oh,
This is your first appearance
excellent.
in the weather chair
That's right. I
on
love
this
a chair.
in
Usually I'm in that silly cooking chair.
yes.
I only
Uh,
know half the answers sometimes.
no, you're in the weather chair. Um, I'm thinking you probably gave a a passing glance at what was going on today, weather-wise.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yes.
That's great. All right, so uh, so usually, at this point, as you watch the show every night, and
Yes.
okay, you're the one. So anyway, the you actually had to fight clouds all day today across much of the Northeast. Did you brighten up at all?
Yeah. The day started off with some drizzle, and the temperatures were down in the 50s. And I don't think we ever really got out of the 50s, high about 59. And around 3:30 this afternoon, just as those kiddies come home, of course, the drizzle starts once again, and we had some drizzle around here and there in the evening time. Right now, I see a few pokes of sun out to the west as I look westward. So there are some breaks in the sky cover. Overall, you know, a 50-50 day.
Yeah,
Could have been better.
here here we had a thunderstorm last night. I think probably around 3 or 4 a.m. It's pretty loud, and it rained fairly hard for a short time. We had one downpour around midday. Otherwise, we had clouds and some sun in the mix here, from
Mhm.
depending on one thing or another. Did manage to get up close to 80 again for the third day in a row. So just enjoying it. Everything is green here. Everything's in
Rub
full.
it in.
Yes. The forest is now covered, with all its leaves and all its magnificence. So, what are you? We know tomorrow's going to be great, but we've got this next storm system that's coming for Friday, Saturday, and lasting into part of Sunday. And I'm just kind of curious because one of the issues is how far north does the rain get, and
Right,
and the
right.
and the other issue is what happens what happens Sunday? Does it the rain is probably going to be gone, but are we going to clear? Are we going to see some improvement? Is it going to clear out, or are we going to be fighting low clouds all day long because of the east wind? I kind of split it 50-50. I thought that maybe
Right.
from New York City north and east stood a much better chance of seeing brightening of
A
skies and
little sun,
and some sun
dry weather.
later in the as the day progressed, as opposed to say going south and west of there toward southern New Jersey,
Yeah.
Philadelphia, southeast PA, and point south, which those areas may not get out of the clouds all day. That's kind of how I was seeing
Hmm.
it.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, probably won't ruin too many Mother's Days, Mom's Days out there. I would say, yeah, the south of New York City and down towards even the Delmarva Peninsula, there might be a lot of cloud cover hanging around still. But anyway, we're for the Northeast primarily an improving, slowly improving day. Not too bad.
All right.
Hey, it's springtime.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting these ups and downs and very difficult weather patterns to time out. and to figure out days in advance. And that certainly has happened this week. There always seems to be in the springtime. I don't know if you know how you feel about it, but in the springtime, there always seems to be a period of 3 to 4 weeks that is difficult to predict
Yes.
too far in advance.
I've
Because
always, even in the short range, I have always felt that the spring is, first of all, I think it's of the four seasons, it's the absolute worst of the
right,
four,
yes,
particularly coming out of,
yeah,
when you're coming out of a winter. If you come out of a cold winter and you're just sort of at the point where you've had enough, you want it to warm up, and
right.
particularly in the Northeast and down into the northern mid-Atlantic states, especially in the coastal plain, that almost never happens. The cold ocean, of course, keeps it from happening, and you get these long stretches sometimes where you get into this sort of what I always refer to as the gloom and doom scenario.
Mhm.
It might not rain very much, but it's that low clouds and sometimes you'll get patches of light rain or drizzle that come in off the ocean. Sometimes you'll get, a couple of days of rain, which is what we're sort of looking at for Friday and Saturday. But I always thought it was the toughest time of the year um, to forecast, even in the short range, because as I said, we had that situation coming up for Sunday, and I don't think we're really going to know till we get to Saturday to see what the satellite looks like, and if we could see some drier air starting to try to push down from the north. So on that note, why don't I? I'm going to bring up the. I'll start with the U.S. satellite loop. And in the meantime, just want to give a big hello to everybody on the chat board. Welcome to tonight's usual Joe and Joe
Yeah.
weather show. Sitting in for Joe is Mrs. Rao, who is also a meteorologist and knows her stuff. So don't mess with her, okay? She knows her stuff. And uh, if you're new to if you're new to the Joe and Joe Weather Show, welcome. Glad you're watching. If you like it, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel using your Gmail account, and then you'll get notifications every time the Joe and Joe Weather Show is on, which usually is Sundays at 11 a.m. and Monday through Thursdays at 7:30, and sometimes we'll be on Friday and Saturday, or Saturday, to move the schedule around if there's some sort of storm that uh, needs attention. We'll jump in on those two off days. So still looking, you looking at the loop here, all the enhanced cloudiness with the system that moved through overnight and this morning is pretty much out to the east, but we still have a little bit of work to do with some leftover clouds. But there is dry air up in eastern Canada, and I got to imagine also some breaks are showing up in parts of Pennsylvania and New Jersey now. So I got to imagine that those clouds are going to thin out as we go through the overnight. And in the meantime, pretty impressive this up spinning upper low that is back in Colorado at the moment with the next storm system. It's got a pretty solid signature on the satellite this evening.
Yeah, it's a nice looking satellite photo, I think. I always like the ones that are more dynamic, that have things going on. And we have, one area of precipitation moving off, and the other one that's beginning to take form and shape in the center part of the country, with a lot of rainfall and thunderstorm activity down around Texas. And that's slowly going to shift and drift northeastward for the next couple of days. Finally, we get into that picture of that particular storm in the central part of the country is going to affect us come Friday into Saturday.
Now you can. I'm just looking at the loop here. You can actually see the beginnings of this block at work, because if you follow the clouds, uh, we've been getting these systems over the last couple of weeks that have been kind of taking sharp turns northward up into the eastern Dakotas, western Minnesota, in terms of where the low center goes, and they've been going well to our west, and we just sort of been getting some of the leftovers as they move eastward. That's kind of what we've got from overnight and this morning. But this one's a little different. Uh, the uh, the high clouds are all streaming from west to east. So that's telling you right there that there's a different sort of a jet stream here in play. And if I we'll just follow it along in terms of how the clouds are moving around, you've got you definitely got a block up in eastern Canada, right in here, and that's going to be the driver here. It's just there's no place for this to go. It can't move northeastward up toward the western lakes. It's got to move underneath that strong high that's going to be building up in eastern Canada, and this is where it becomes a problem because everything is moving. We're at a time of year where everything just slows down to a crawl.
Right, right. Not as slow as the summertime, but still, it's slowing down compared to the winter.
Yeah, nice rotation. You can see it back. There's a nice rotation there, sitting in the Central Rockies with that upper feature, so it's fairly well defined. So that is going to, of course, the beginnings of that'll probably arrive during Friday. But in the meantime, should be a good day tomorrow. I'm thinking we should make it up
Yes,
away from the
excellent.
coast. Should make it up into the 70s. Plenty of sunshine all day. That kind.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll be outside probably most of the day.
Meanwhile, on the radar tonight, we'll take a look at that. We'll maybe see if we have some severe weather going on. We could go to Tornado HQ. But most of the showers, you see them here as of 7:41 Eastern Time in. Why did I do that? It jumped around. In southern Maine, and we also have some severe thunderstorm and special marine warnings going up right now in eastern North Carolina. SPC had a marginal risk going on there. A couple of isolated patches scattered throughout the southwestern North Carolina to South Carolina and central Georgia. Then, meanwhile, the big developments tonight, really, Oklahoma is going to be the center of attention with respect to the thunderstorms, which are starting to pop up. We've got one, two, three, four, five, six. It looks like eight. They were eight. Now, seven severe thunderstorm warnings and two tornado warnings. Yeah, two tornado warnings that are up at the moment. The Storm Prediction Center has two working tornado watches up as of right now, which is if you're watching this on a replay, we're doing this at 7:42 Eastern Time. So be sure to check the latest on whatever's going on in severe weather in your neck of the woods if you're watching this on a replay overnight by going to weather.gov and checking your local National Weather Service forecast office. I stand corrected, Renata. We've got three working tornado watches in effect. The one that was issued the earliest expires at 10 o'clock Central Time, and that covers north central Texas, north and west of Dallas, and into Oklahoma. The next weather watch that we have, Tornado Watch 177, and this is also going till 10 p.m. Eastern Time, is to the west of what I just showed you. So that covers southwest Oklahoma and parts of northwest Texas, including Amarillo. And the third severe thunderstorm watch, number 178, runs south of there and extends down into parts of southwest Texas. So SPC very bullish here on severe weather for that part of the U.S. And I think I just saw a mesoscale discussion come up uh, on the tornado watch that's up in Oklahoma. Let's see what they have to say here. So they're saying an increase in storm coverage expected this evening, current visible satellite trends, and an expected increase in mid-level forcing. Large to very large hail and tornadoes, possibly strong, are the expected hazards. And low-level jet, uh, just kind of scanning through this. Later this evening, the low-level jet is also expected to focus an increase into this region. Tornado potential with mature storms will increase depending on how many storms can initiate. Some storm interactions are possible. However, any of the more dominant supercells will be capable of large to very large hail and tornadoes, with some tornadoes, some potentially strong. So uh, they're definitely bullish on what's going on from the standpoint of severe weather tonight. And then for the next couple of days, we are going to see the severe weather shifting eastward for tomorrow. And as soon as the
Well, just I don't want to interrupt,
no,
but
go ahead, go
Michael
ahead.
McGuire Yeah, Michael McGuire said that Mooresville, North Carolina, got hit by a 70-mile-per-hour microburst. We had numerous trees and lines down, 2 home collapses from falling trees, trees falling on them, and a roof blown off a car wash. And we thank him for his super chat.
And,
And
oh,
there was
thank
another
you.
super chat by Goldberg as well, for Renata to cover Joe's lost salary this evening.
Very nice. Well, we've waived all the because it's you. We've waived all the normal appearance fees, fees, makeup fees, and the food fee.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
and the cheese platter fee. I hope you got the cheese platter. So for tomorrow, enhanced risk in northeastern Texas, northwestern Louisiana, and a good chunk of the state of Arkansas in enhanced risk, and that, by the way, includes a 5% tornado risk, a 2 to 5% tornado risk in the risk areas for tomorrow. The slight risk extending into northwest Mississippi, western Tennessee, and southwestern Kentucky. And then for day 3, as we look ahead to um, Friday into Saturday, I'm in the slight risk zone on Friday. I've got slight risk in much of the northwestern quarter of Georgia, much of eastern Tennessee, most of Alabama, southern Mississippi, southeastern Louisiana. The marginal risk pushes up into southwestern Virginia and Kentucky. One thing for sure, with the way this next low is tracking, Renata, is that severe weather is not going to be an issue uh, in the Northeast. It just there's no way that there's going to be any thunderstorms uh, up much beyond, say, for the next day on the fourth day. It's probably going to be mostly confined to the Carolinas on southward,
Right,
and it's not going to be any
right,
further north.
right. Now, this Saturday is Derby Day, Kentucky Derby Day.
Ah, so we
Yeah.
should take a
And
look at that as well.
I think you can look at that as well. I think it's either 5 or 6 o'clock.
Usually post time is 6:30 Eastern.
Oh, 6:30. Okay.
6:30 Eastern. WPC has increased the rainfall and pushed it a little bit further to the north, so now they have about an inch running from western Long Island across northern New Jersey through the northern part of Pennsylvania, and then from central New Jersey and then east-west across PA. If you cut that in half, the southern half showing an inch and a half, and a small area of 2+ inches in southeast and south central PA and into Maryland. Also, that area stretches back across the Ohio Valley because they're going to get it first, with 1 to 2 inches possible, extending all the way back into Missouri, and then you've got a 2 to 3 inch area in Oklahoma, and in the Pacific Northwest is still looking for fairly busy with rain over the next 7 days there, and the Southwest it just seems like there's a boilerplate over the folks in the Southwest. They're not going to see a drop. And the other thing I would point
Yeah.
out is in upstate New York, if you
The
go,
majority of the southwestern corner is in drought conditions.
yes, yes, and it's moved,
Everything that you see on the screen that's dry there is basically drought conditions.
and that's been going on for a while. And the other thing, and this goes back to what we were saying about Sunday, if you notice, WPC has no rain for the next 7 days in western Maine, Vermont, parts of New Hampshire, Vermont, much of upstate New York north of I-90, and central Michigan northward into the Upper Peninsula. No rain for the next 7 days. So that's kind of telling you there's all of that area in southeastern Canada not showing any precip. That is where your high is, and the question, of
Exactly.
course, yeah, the question is it going to be able to force southward? I've seen it happen where it does, and I've seen it happen where you think it's going to happen and it doesn't.
The high isn't particularly strong, if I remember right from looking at the maps earlier. It's only projected to be around a 10-20 millibar high.
Right.
So it's not a particularly strong high, it's mediocre. So how much it'll suppress any precipitation or at least cloud cover, well, we'll have to see. But basically, as we said at the beginning, from the New York area southward, there's an awful lot of cloud cover that can be expected. And
And
mothers, well, let's hope for the best for their day.
Well, I've got the
I know
simulate.
mine looks pretty good.
Well,
I'm sitting pretty.
yours is looking a little better, certainly.
Yes.
I'm just looking at the GFS simulated satellite. Now, bear in mind that the GFS, uh, the Europeans been insistent on bringing the rain further north, and the GFS kind of moved in that direction today. And if you look at the enhanced cloudiness on the simulated satellite loop, uh, regardless of what the rain situation is, it's you're still going to be dealing with clouds no matter what. We are going to get some rain certainly, but if we move it along and we get to, this was Friday and now we're going into Saturday, you see the little rotation there down in Virginia. There's where your upper low is, and at least at this point Saturday morning, you've got to go way up into up almost up to Plattsburgh to the Canada border to get out of the cloud cover. Now, as we go into Sunday, it does try by Sunday afternoon by 3 o'clock. It does bring drier air down. Okay, so it is hopeful. It actually pulls that dry air because of where the upper low being offshore. It actually pulls that dry air well south into New Jersey and down into Maryland and Virginia. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but um, that seems to be a bit much in my book. Uh,
Right.
but
Right.
it has what it has, and you still have Sunday night into Monday. You still have it sort of hanging offshore, and the clouds kind of come back westward. So again, problematic after the rain goes by is going to be to get rid of these clouds. And how it's going to be so hard to do with an east wind that's going to be going on into the first part of next week.
Right, exactly. And well, we probably will have at least I will have a fair day on Sunday and into Monday, and then we wind up with another area of precipitation coming in.
So here's the new GFS, so we can take a look. And of course, our eastern system is out. There's your severe weather outbreak being represented by the GFS tonight in Oklahoma and southwest Missouri, southeastern Kansas. Uh, Tomorrow, as we said, we've got this nice little high that is north of Lake Huron that settles in. Should be no problems, not much wind, a good amount of sun, and temperatures will be able to, at least I think it should, with the May sun we break to 70. Then rain by Friday morning. GFS is a little faster. It kind of has a lead area of rain that runs out ahead. The main low is still back south of St. Louis at 2 a.m. Friday. But it brings rain in, and then the radar sort of fills in for the rest of the time, Friday night into Saturday morning. Got a few heavier downpours showing up now, even on the GFS in northern New Jersey and northeastern PA. Then by Saturday evening, much of the air north of New York City, Saturday evening, it's pretty much done with the rain. There's still left over in parts of Jersey, southern PA, down into Maryland and Delaware. But by 1 a.m. Sunday, it's all but gone. And certainly by 7 a.m. Sunday, it's all but gone. But again, look at the loop here. You'll see it on the screen when it catches up. The low is just sort of rotating around, and there's arms from the ocean that are swinging back westward. And I think
Right.
this is gonna be a problem for the first part of next week, if this is correct.
Right. You can see that, yeah, the whole Delmarva area on into eastern Virginia, North Carolina, that they'll have remnants swinging around from that offshore weather or low pressure system.
Yep, and it's still some remnants of it are still there toward the end of the week. It is amazing, but I'm not too keen on completely clearing out here for the early part of next week if this is done, if this is correct. There's just too many easterly isobars and these little inverted troughs that rotate up and around. Doesn't rain all the we're talking very light
No,
rain or drizzle and it's patchy. So it's quite possible that
more dry than wet.
yeah, and probably far more dry than wet, but I just don't know that you're going to get much if any sun in a situation like this.
Yeah, well, it's springtime, and this is what we can anticipate in the springtime. Be careful what you wish for, because you know what's going to happen in the summer now. We're going
Yes.
to get that prolonged heat wave and dry spell.
I was I
Going to go
was
from yin to yang,
It's been a long. It's I was telling to Joe not too recently, but we were talking about this. It's been a long time since we've really strung a a a, a, a solid 10, 11, 12 day stretch of 90 plus weather. Uh, in the last few years, we haven't really seen that very often. We seem to be getting these sort of isolated 1 or 2 hot days where it gets to 97, 98 in spots. You get the odd spots that touch 100 every once in a while, but uh, in terms of stringing many days in a row, and maybe even stringing, I can remember the heat waves going back over time where we had several days, 2 or 3 days of 100 plus readings. We haven't seen that in quite a while.
No, no, we haven't. We just get, like you said, very short bursts of heat. So be interesting to see what happens this year. I think we'll probably wind up with at least 2 or 3 hot spells, but I don't know about any extensive heat. Talking about extensive heat, I read an article in the paper the other day that it's extraordinarily hot in India and Pakistan. They one area topped off at 114 degrees.
Good Lord.
There, yeah. So we don't want any of that, certainly, but
No, no, we
yeah,
don't.
that's where there's intense heat right now in the world.
I'm looking at the upper air going into the long range, and of course short range. The problem is this this trough that's coming down out of Canada is not picking this up. It's leaving it behind, and that's why the weather's going to deteriorate the way it is. The upper low just moves straight east because there's a ridge up in eastern Canada, so it can't go that way. It's got to go underneath, and the way the train is, if you connect the lows that are out in the Pacific, they're sort of running west to east, and then dropping southward through the middle Mississippi Valley, and then kind of coming east, and then in this particular instance it's not even going to be able to go out because of what's going on out in the Atlantic, so it gets left behind, and then it just sort of meanders and drops west and south through next week. I mean, there's still some semblance of the upper low. It actually moves into the southeast coast near the Georgia South Carolina state line on Friday, and then just gradually gets absorbed by a western trough. And then finally, we get into a little bit of a ridge position, but not much of one over next weekend, which is now the weekend of May 15th, 16th. One
Right.
thing's definite. It's going to get very warm in
That
upstate
it's
upstate
area of warmth up there
yeah
for our north.
yeah up in Canada, up in eastern Canada, south central Canada, into the Great Lakes, and through parts of upstate, well up into upstate New York and northwest Maine. They're under that big upper high, and they're going to get very warm. So if it wasn't for this upper low and this storm system, we actually would be probably talking about some very warm to hot conditions here, but not going to happen with the upper air structure the way it is. You still there?
Yeah, I'm
Oh, okay.
right here. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
that's all right. And then
Not too much to add. Things have not too much has changed either in the last day or so.
no, it does look like at least toward the longer term, uh, going into after mid after we get through the middle of the month, the atmosphere does seem to normalize a little bit, where things are perhaps moving along a bit more
Right.
than what we're seeing right now. Now, I had a I'm going to come back full screen. I
I got to say, I can hear Joe giving his talk.
yeah.
I'm like above him in the
Oh,
kitchen,
so
as
you hear
everybody
it
can
you hear it word
see.
for word.
not word for word, but he when he starts talking, but man, I get so excited and exuberant, and
Oh,
I can hear exclamations.
he sure does. Uh, I'm just going to re-thank Michael McGuire for hitting super chat, and thanks again for the weather information. And Barry Goldberg, also thanks for the super chat hit. So uh, I don't understand. I had this one person. I had to block him off my Facebook page because, well, he had a four-letter word vocabulary, and I won't. You,
Oh,
you know where I'm going with this, and he just wouldn't stop.
yeah.
And apparently, it was all it somehow the fact that I was writing about what kind of weather we were going to have was causing it to happen in his mind, and I don't understand.
So you're the cause of the bad weather? Is that what he's
No,
trying to get
no,
at?
but I shouldn't write. All I ever do is write about bad weather. No, I write about weather every day, whether it's good or bad. So
Yeah,
that's right there
exactly.
is a fallacy. But there was sort of this. I don't understand the emotional attachment that some people place on the fact that somehow if I wrote, if I were to write a weather outlook that was completely wrong from the standpoint of what was going to happen, but it was designed.
Right.
I have to write it solely to make that person feel well. I just don't understand that mentality. I really don't.
We're here to tell it like it is, whether they like it or not.
That's right. Exactly.
Thank you, Johnny Quest. Look at that, Johnny Quest.
Johnny
Thank you
Quest
very,
sitting
very
super
much.
chat tonight. Thank you,
And
Johnny.
Leon Pobitsky.
And so has Leon
And Leon,
Pravinsky. You're seeing it
yeah,
before I am for some reason. Uh,
yeah.
so let me
Well,
ask
I
you.
take note. I think I mentioned it to you once before. When I watch on an iPad Air, which is what I have over here to my side, it seems to be a little bit closer to actual timing.
Oh,
There
okay.
isn't that much lag.
Oh, okay. That's
In other
interesting.
words,
David
yeah,
Schwartz saying at
off app,
6:57. What was that?
off the YouTube app, it's a little more timely.
Nor
I
timely.
don't know why.
David
Yeah.
Schwartz says at 6:57 Central Time, a confirmed tornado 7 miles southeast of Chalk in Texas. Chalk, Texas, moving east at 20 miles per hour.
Mhm.
Let's see. I'll bring that up. Let me bring up Tornado HQ, and then I'm going to talk to you about Wordle.
Uh,
Did you, all right, here we go. Let me get
I did
the.
it. Yes, I did do it. I did do it.
I'll tell you a story about today's word.
And I can show you how I got to my solution. I got the solution in four. My daughter and I always
Right.
exchange information about Wordle. But
I got,
anyway,
I got it in two,
right.
and I should have got. I've got it in two, and I should have gotten it in one, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Uh,
Well,
I
that
was,
happened to me too
I
once
was, I
before.
was
Okay, go
livid, absolutely livid today of when it happened.
ahead.
So,
When you get it in one, that's just pure luck. That's just
well, I'll tell you the story in a minute. So, all right, so let's take a look. We've got a couple of tornado warnings in play. We've got a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Delwyn, or about 12 miles south of Paducah, Texas, moving east at 20. Again, folks, it is 8:04 Eastern Time. So if you're watching this on a replay, obviously these are dated radars. Please go to weather.gov to your local National Weather Service forecast office to get the latest information regarding severe weather. So the one you were talking about, located 7 miles east of southeast of Chalk, moving east at 20, and it was an observed tornado. They don't. Looks like it's midway between Wichita Falls and Lubbock that this is all going on. So it's pretty deep into west central Texas. It's well northwest of the Dallas Fort Worth area. There's two others in play one near Kreiner, and that looks to be up on the that's on the Oklahoma side to the south of Oklahoma City, and a confirmed tornado near Maud, Oklahoma, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. I'm going to go to North Carolina also because we had some severe thunderstorm warnings there earlier. I'll see what's going on now. Yeah, actually, we have two severe thunderstorm warnings up at the moment. One extent severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from near Morgan's Corner to near Sunbury, move to near Hobbsville, moving southeast at 25 miles per hour. So that puts them in line for. I think that's. I can't read it because the echo is right on top of it. Albemarle Sound. So yeah, not too, just north and west of Elizabeth City is where those two severe thunderstorm warnings are located, and that is it. The purple you see, that purple box, that's indicative of a special marine warning for the coastal waters that is up at the moment. So anyway, now we're going to come back full screen, and
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you. So I did it in two today, but I was furious
You
because I don't know how
you
you
changed your beginning word.
well,
You changed
yeah,
your beginning word.
I don't I have a few beginning words that I use. And
I do. Okay, what are yours?
okay,
Well,
um uh now I use train,
mm,
least, least. Now depending on what letters show up, I might go to alive or something, trying to either work the vowels or the consonants, however it plays. But those are
right.
some,
I usually like to work the
I
vowels.
played around with it too. I found that, for example, if I use the whatever the word is of the day that's the winning word, if I use that to start the next word,
Right.
I don't find that there's
Yeah.
an appreciable difference in terms of my outcomes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
As it doesn't.
If I put up a word, if I put up least, and it's happened where I've put it up and none of the letters are in there, okay,
Yeah.
then I go to
That,
my second word is pious, Pious. So this way I get rid of all the vowels.
I
Yeah,
like that one.
yeah.
I'll use that one.
You get rid of all the vowels. So
Yes.
yeah, so the one of the words that I use for the starting word, I didn't I switched, and it turned out
Mhm.
I got two letters. I only got two letters from the word I used to. I don't know which word I used. It might have been least. I'm not sure. And for some reason, I looked at the pattern of the letters and I thought, you know what? Let me try. Let me try my one of my starter words. And sure enough, it came up on the second one. And then on the other version that I was telling you about, WORDE, wordy,
Hmm.
where you can have
Yeah. That
a,
one I haven't tried
it's a
yet. I'll try that
it's
tomorrow.
a free one with unlimited play. So today I th- I'm watching the tiles turn, and I had the first four came up green, and then the last one did not. And it's like, oh, I thought I was going to have it there. As it turned out,
Right.
it was an SH word, so the possibilities were endless. I think it was SH. I
Yeah.
think it was SHAR. Uh, and so there's share, there's shard, there's a few others, and I managed to get it on the second one. But I played so many. I've played it over 700 words on that so far. So I'm at the point now where I'm getting
Really
really,
addictive.
yeah, but I'm getting to the point. I'm at the point right now where I'm getting not weird words, but words that aren't used that often. Also, words where one letter appears twice. Okay, and that even
Right.
on one instance, I had one where there were two E's and two L's, or something like that, or two D's, whatever it was. So it was basically three letters would have given, there were two letters would cover up four spots. So
Right.
it makes it makes it even more of a challenge. So I don't know how you deep it. That's one thing with Wordle at one at a time. It's going
Okay.
to take a
So you
while to
can see
get
this,
there.
right?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Okay. Well, saute is my number one
Oh,
choice for a
saute's
beginning
good.
word.
Saute's a good word.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
what
good
I love.
word.
And my second starting word would be ounce,
Ounce.
OUNCE.
Let me see if I can get my. I can show you my wordy one.
And another one that they say is very popular, and perhaps even the now I looked this up after had doing it a while. My daughter and I were going back and forth. I can show you
You're
what
not gonna.
she
Yeah,
did
you're
today.
not gonna be able to see it on here. Oh, it changed. No
You know,
wonder.
this this is my daughter Maria's. We always swap what we came up with in Wordle. I don't know if can you see it now? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
See, she started off with the word sport, and it took her 5 tries. So anyway, and she plays around with different words all the time, but I tend to stick like you
Yeah.
to
I don't know if it show if you can
to.
see it.
I saw the word least.
Okay, so I've just started a new game there. So it's it yeah. So there's least. So I got an ST. I hate when I get an S in there because then ultimately I have to start playing with SH, SC,
Yes,
SL.
it's,
Too many
right,
possibilities. But I have to tell you, it's
right, right.
I'm really enjoying it. And by the way, the other option on here on the wordy game is that you can change it to 4 letter words, 6 letter words, 7 letter, and 8 letter words. So if you
That
really,
must get ridiculously hard.
yeah, I don't think you have. I think you still only have 6 tries to get to it. So,
Wow.
Wordy for Wordle for those of you who don't know, it's on the New York Times. It's a New York Times puzzle, and you can get it on you can get it from the New York Times website even if you're not a subscriber, and you can only play one word a day, which means that you
That's right.
unless you
Which is a good thing.
yes
I think it's a good thing.
yes it is.
Joe will tell you that without fail, every day I do the jumble.
Mhm.
And most of the time I can like do it within like 2 to 3 minutes or or less. And also Sudoku, I'll do that also.
Yeah,
Especially the Sudoku we do later in the week because those are the harder ones, more challenging. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's kind of easy. So I like the challenge. Steve Lapointe hit super chat. You want to thank him very much. I don't know if you want to
yes,
read it.
Stephen. Renata, you're doing great. Tell Joe Rao he is the refreshment guy now. We're moving forward with Renata and Chaffee. He'll appreciate that. Oh God.
I know you can't wait till Sunday morning.
No,
You want Joe back.
I didn't say that. This is the first time, I used to solo this show, the show. Then
Yeah, I know.
I did it with Joe, and then along the way we've had a few others when working at FiOS, but doing it with Joe on a regular basis. So this is the first time that I've you know, had a guest host sitting in for Mr. Rayo.
Okay.
By the way,
Well,
one question before we wrap it up, and that is, do you watch all the shows that Joe watches, like the Andy Griffith Show and the Green Acres and Gomer Pyle and all the
most of
rest
the
of it?
time, 90% of the time, yes, yes. But I'm not a trivia expert like him, so no jeopardies for me.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's wrap it up, folks. Thanks all for being here. Renata and I will be back tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern Time. Hope to see you then,
That's right.
and be safe. We'll see you tomorrow night. Good night, everybody.